So today, we're diving into the story of Swamyji Surya Bhaskarendra Saraswathi. He's this incredible spiritual teacher who's found a way to connect really ancient wisdom with our super modern lives. He's been called a guide for our generation, and we're about to see exactly what makes his journey so powerful.
A guiding light for our generation. I mean, that's a pretty big statement, right? You have to wonder, what does it take to earn that kind of title in the world we live in today? Well, let's take a look at the path that shaped him.
To really get it, we're going to explore his whole journey. We'll look at his background, his pretty unique education, what his core teachings are all about, and the personal qualities that his followers say really define him.
You know, the first thing that really stands out is that people don't see him as some distant, unapproachable guru. Nope. His followers talk about him like a friend, a philosopher, and a guide. Someone who actually helps them navigate the real, messy challenges of life today.
And get this, at 45 years old, he still sees himself first and foremost as a full-time student of Advaita Vedanta. His entire life is centered around the Sree ashram, which means the mission of peace, and that's where this incredible dedication to learning all started.
And just look at the scope of his work. This isn't just some abstract spiritual talk. He takes these profound ideas from ancient texts like the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita and applies them to really practical things like leadership skills and personal growth. It's basically a toolkit for living better in the modern world.
So, how does someone become this kind of guide? Well, for him, it wasn't some sudden realization later in life. This path was basically woven into the fabric of his childhood from day one.
His course was set almost from birth. He was born into a really devout family and got his education in an ashram, which instilled this deep sense of discipline. And this all led up to a pivotal moment at age 30 when he embraced sanyasa, which is the formal renunciation of worldly things to completely dedicate his life to spiritual service. But, and this is where his story gets really fascinating, his education didn't just stop at the ashram. In fact, he dove deep into two worlds that you'd think are complete opposites, spirit and science. Just think about that mix for a second. On one hand, you have this deep, immersive study of ancient philosophy, and on the other, a degree in mechanical engineering, a world built on logic, physics, and hard science. It's this blend of the analytical and the spiritual that really makes his approach so unique.
Okay, so his spiritual home is in Advaita Vedanta. It's a major Hindu philosophy, and its core idea is basically non-duality. The idea that your individual self and the ultimate reality are actually one and the same. And his connection to the Sringeri Peetham is a big deal. It means his teachings come from a very, very deep and respected spiritual lineage.
So, what do you do when you have a background in both ancient philosophy and modern engineering? For Swamyji, the mission became crystal clear: to teach all this amazing wisdom, but to do it in a way that anyone, and I mean anyone, could understand.
And that right there is his special gift. I mean, it's one thing to understand these incredibly deep ideas, but it's a whole other thing to make them simple and, practical for the rest of us. Maybe that's the engineer in him, right? The ability to break down a super complex system into parts that just work. It's why he connects with so many people.
And his audience isn't just a few people in a monastery. He's mentoring everyone from CEOs in corporate boardrooms to students in college classrooms. It just goes to show you that this practical approach to ancient wisdom is something that people from all walks of life are hungry for.
This mission to make wisdom accessible also shows up in his language skills. Being a scholar in Sanskrit, Telugu, and English means he can bridge cultural divides and speak to people in a way that truly connects with them, making these profound ideas feel universal.
But his influence goes way beyond just being a brilliant scholar. When you look at what people say about him, they always come back to his personal character, to the actual person behind all that wisdom.
For all of his incredible knowledge, the descriptions of him always circle back to these really fundamental human traits: humility, compassion, kindness. It seems his real impact comes not just from what he knows, but from who he is.
So, what's the big takeaway here? His life story is this powerful reminder that real wisdom isn't just about collecting facts. It's about the discipline to go find it, the humility to actually live it, and the compassion to share it with everyone else.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. In our world, which is so fast-paced and just full of noise, his example offers a totally different way of being, a life built on quiet discipline and deep humility. And it makes you wonder, in our own lives, what can we learn from a path like that?